Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Post Daily News Show for Wednesday, May the 25th. I am John Pollock alongside Mr. Wai Ting. Hello, Wai.
Hey, John, how you doing?
I am doing all right. Thank you to Kate from Montreal for stepping in yesterday. A great job by the two of you going through all of the news items. Off the top today, we are going to be getting to all of the regular news items, but I think we would be remiss not to address the horrific school shooting that happened in Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday, and I don't even know if I can really put it into words. I mean, we're talking about a month where we have seen a shooting at a church in Orange County, California, 10 people losing their lives in Buffalo, and now this in a month. 19 children, 2 adults. I don't know what to add to it other than I'm just so I'm angry, I'm upset about this, and it just seems to be a problem that we'll be talking about again at some unforeseen point in time. I think there's a lot of frustration among many people.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I feel like it's such an obvious problem, but I think, I mean, I'm not even American, so I can't really even speak all that much to it. But I think just as a human being, I feel so powerless. Because I don't know what I could possibly do about it. And I would imagine many of my American friends probably feel the same, where there's this big outcry, I think, for a change that people want to see occur, but for whatever reason it hasn't yet. And it's been 20 something years that we've been dealing with this.
This is the 27th school shooting this year. We're not even at the midway point of the year yet. That is school shootings, mass shootings, 212 this year in the U.S. These are unfathomable. Just you cannot fathom these numbers in any sense. You can look at cause and effect, and of course, this becomes a fucking debate at the end of this. This is a political issue. It's mind numbing, and as a father, this is just it. Let's move on. It's just I don't have any more words to share, but this is certainly weighed on me, and these happen in such regularity that we push it to the side. We come up with Band-Aid solutions. We say all the usual things, and then we forget about it, and then another one of these happens. And it is just this ongoing pattern that what is the breaking point if 19 children is not it for people? Like, this is, like, we lived through Columbine way when we were in high school. You would have thought that would have been this demarcation point when it comes to this issue. And here we are 23 years later, and another school shooting. It's anyway, our condolences, obviously, but it's a lot of angry people today, justifiably. Always a difficult segue to move on to news afterwards. But Wai, you have put together the news items for today, and Tony Khan is doing a lot of media this week, leading into a Double or Nothing, which looks to be it's going to be a very big pay-per-view, I feel, on Sunday night. He was on with Richard Deitch, so we were going to take a look at that interview.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I encourage everybody to go check out this interview, the Sports Media Podcast with Richard Deitch. And Tony Khan was on, and he was asked about how the Warner Discovery merger will affect AEW. And in this little clip, Tony drops a bit of news, revealing that several executives will be not just in attendance next week in Dynamite at the LA Forum, but they will be hosting an event for AEW as well. So here it is.
It means a lot to me personally to be in the Forum to begin with, but I can't tell you what it means that a lot of the top executives from Warner Brothers Discovery are not only coming to the show, but they're throwing a great event for us afterwards in the Forum. And it's just to have their presence to begin with. It means so much that they would come to the show, but also a lot of the top executives in the Warner Brothers Discovery family are going to have an event with us, with a lot of the people in AEW, and we're going to hang out, and that means the world to us, and getting to know each other better. And they've been so supportive and great coming in, and it means so much to us to be working with the largest producer of content now after this great merger, Warner Brothers Discovery, the biggest in the world, and running such an efficient ship. Now to be a part of it, putting up numbers and working hard and showing up every week. And this show, June 1st, will be coming off. It'll be next Wednesday, a week from today. Tonight, we're on live from Las Vegas, celebrating the 3-year anniversary. We got our huge pay-per-view where it all began, Double or Nothing, on Sunday. It's going to be a massive event, which, like I said, I have a footnote for you on that. And then, to have the event at the Forum on June 1st and to have top execs from Warner Bros. Discovery not only coming to the event, but throwing a party for us and this mixer, this event. It's just really cool. And it's an honor to be a part of this family that's grown and changed after the merger, and it's going to be so strong.
All right. So that I'm sensing that you're feeling good then. This is a little confident feeling about the in the post-merger world where AEW fits in.
I think so, and I hope so. I think this is really cool, and I'm very appreciative of it.
So a big party, John.
A mixer.
Everybody's going to hang out.
It's like, are you guys getting married? No. We're going out for drinks. This is like, we met on Tinder, and we've been flirting, and now we're going to go for drinks with the new executives, and we're going to see where things progress. I think the fact that they're coming to the Forum, obviously that is, a positive sign. How else could you read it other than that? But I'm sure people will read much more into this than that. But you know what? Having your executive there inside what's going to be a super hot crowd, this is going to be one of the biggest crowds among AEW's history at the Forum. It's, they get to see the product up close and personal. And I'm sure AEW will be doing the full court press at this mixer afterwards. Maybe that'll be a digital exclusive afterward.
Maybe, but I mean, I think
David Zaslav coming up. Brian, was your leg really caught between the ring and the ramp?
Will Zaslav be there? Like, what level of executive are we talking about?
He said executives. Right? I would be David Zaslav being at this show. I mean, that would be very newsworthy if he was at this event.
Yeah.
He just said executive. So I would imagine these would be lower lieutenants.
First of all, like in trying to even like grab some of these clips, you really do get the sense that Tony Khan, I think, is starting to really become, I think, our replacement for maybe a departing Stephanie McMahon as somebody who can say a lot of words, but not necessarily give a ton of information. And maybe he knows that, he will be clipped and he will be transcribed, and tries to make sure to include a plug, basically every other sentence in there for the show that's about to come up. I think what we can gather is that I think next week, as always, but especially next week, I think Dynamite will be really putting its best foot forward. And
you're right. You're right, Way. We are going to be putting our best foot forward. And speaking of foot forward, we're going to be putting our foot towards Dynamite tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Yeah. Yes. I mean, listen, that is a skill to be able to navigate. I mean, Tony Khan, when he is doing these interviews, he is there to promote his product. But at the same time, like, there is a give and take. Like the outlet is looking for information. You are there to promote. And the best interviews are ones where you can weave in both. Like, there is information for the viewer, for the outlet, and as well, you're getting something out of it by promoting your product. And Tony is the public face of this company that is probably doing as much media beyond anyone else in AEW. Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to see, like, if there's a different type of presentation next week. I mean, if it's important always to, I think, impress the executives when you think they might be watching at home, but when you know that they're in attendance watching this show, I mean, there's no probably more important group of people for Tony Khan to impress than the group that might be gathered next week at the Forum there. So, is a Dan Lambert promo going to sound like a typical Dan Lambert promo? Will we see blood and guts, at a show like we will next week? And what does he think that these executives will be impressed with? The crowd, we know, will be incredible, most likely, in LA. So that is something to look forward to next week. And then there's another clip that I thought was worth pulling here, and that was Tony Khan speaking specifically about the potential of the game 7 between the Celtics and the Bucks, Celtics and the Heat, taking place at the same time as Double or Nothing this weekend.
Potential game 7, if it goes to game 7. Yes,
that is correct. So here's Tony Khan speaking about that.
Great stars of AEW. So I promise, first of all, there will not be any long gap. I'm not going to hold it up. I've planned where we're going to start a little bit later in terms of when the action is going to start, and we have a little bit more in the window. So I expect the total night of wrestling is going to be very similar to what we did at Revolution, but I planned ahead in case there was a game 7. I didn't know it was going to be the Heat and the Celtics again, but I just had a feeling I was going to go back to Vegas 10 years later and it was going to be something similar. I can't believe it's the Heat and the Celtics again. I hope that one of these teams can finish it off. I don't want to upset any fans of either team, so hopefully they won't mind if I don't take a side in the Heat and the Celtics rivalry. But one of them, it would be great if they could end it in 6 games and it doesn't come to where we're going to need to take advantage of it. But I have put it in play that we've got later. We've never, needed to take advantage of that before going longer on pay-per-view. But for the live fans, it's very early, and it's similar to what UFC and boxing do all the time as far as when they put the big fight in the ring. So I'm not going to have a long gap. We got plenty of action. It's going to be a great night. And I promise if there is a game 7, a lot of the best action will be at the very end, including at the main event. Hangman Page, the world champion, who's been so huge for us so far, who's really taken us into the future, versus the biggest free agent who's ever come in to AEW, CM Punk. It is truly one of those great champion versus number one contender title fights. And there's so much on the card. So I plan to leave a lot late also, just in case. And the show also would start before if there was a game 7. So there would be some great action before the game and after the game in case anybody doesn't end up watching it. So I'm trying to plan around it and plan the pay-per-view window. So the pre-show, as we call.
Okay, and then it just keeps going. But yeah, so a potential game 7 there, possibly affecting maybe the structure of this show. He's claiming that there won't be many gaps. And what he was referring to, everybody, was the fact that 10 years ago, Tony Khan actually happened to be in Vegas for the Manny Pacquiao-Timothy Bradley fight. And that was a game that also happened to be delayed, or at least, a fight that did not start until the end of Celtics Heat game, coincidentally, again. So how can he possibly structure this show? I mean, if you're an AEW fan, it's not like boxing where much of the people that are paying for that show are really there just for the main event. For AEW, I mean, if you're an AEW fan, I think you'd be interested in, I would say, 80 to 90% of this show?
Yeah, I think it's a lot different, I would say, from boxing, and I'd include like a UFC card. Like typically for a UFC pay-per-view, you'll get 5 fights of varying importance from in, sort of a ascending order. But nonetheless, obviously I feel he believes that there is enough that this is worth taking into consideration, the idea of holding off on Punk and Page till the game is over. And we should mention the series is tied 2-2. They're playing tonight. So, I mean, again, there's certainly the potential for a 7th game. And I don't know, when you're saying you're not taking that big of a gap, like there will be wrestling going against this basketball game, but it seems like it is preserving the main event until the game is over, which is certainly adds a complication to it if you're trying to juggle this and how much you hold off. And he's saying there won't be a lot of like downtime, but if the game keeps going, I mean, it's almost like you're planning on the fly of how long some of your preceding matches go against a game before you get your main event in the ring.
He also hinted at possibly, and he says he's never taken advantage of this, but possibly taking advantage of overrunning on a pay-per-view window. So.
And I don't know how that extends to all the systems. Like I know on Rogers, like my guide, it's listed till like 2 a.m. like the pay-per-view window. So I think they have plenty of room if they need it, just something they have not exercised in the past. But yeah, I would be curious how much of an issue this really would be for your wrestling audience. And I mean, there is a disparity between, a Manny Pacquiao fight, especially of 10 years ago, versus an AEW pay-per-view, and how many homes would be watching this that are also conflicted with the game going on, which that would be a massive game that they are going against.
Essentially, I think he's simply saying the main event, like a Punk versus Page, won't start until after the game.
Right.
So, all right. And a bit more on AEW here. The latest on when exactly Rampage and the Countdown to Double or Nothing may start. We have another update here from the TNT schedule, and yesterday we reported that 5:30 seems to be the indication, but now it has been bumped up to 6:30 p.m. for Rampage on the East Coast, which means 3:30 p.m. start on the West Coast. And for those live, showtime is 3 p.m. as advertised. So get in the building 3 o'clock, and then 3:30 get ready to go live. So 6:30 p.m. as it stands, with a 11:30 p.m. start for the Countdown show on the East Coast.
Yeah, but where this is really confusing is that at one point, like there could have been 2 NHL games. The Lightning have eliminated the Panthers, so that series is done. And then tonight, you've got the Colorado game, and if Colorado wins, then that series is over. There would be no NHL games on Friday night. So you have the potential of either 1 game or 0 games on Friday night. There was the potential of 2, but that has been alleviated. So, yeah, this is just you're totally at the behest of the network if you're AEW, but certainly this is one where, you know, it's just unfortunate timing that this is one of the very few times of the year that Rampage has a live show. So if you are AEW, you are very much rooting for Colorado to beat St. Louis tonight. And
if you're somebody going live, keep updated as best as you can. Maybe follow that TNT schedule. But I think I would say either way. I feel at this point, I don't think the live setting is going to change too much, right? No matter what, even if Rampage does air at 10 o'clock, they will probably tape early.
Yeah. It sounds like they want to have a consistent time for the live, for the ticket holders, and then for the television viewers, that's where you might see some fluctuation based on the outcome of tonight's game. But this is one where it's like you cannot definitively say what time Rampage is going to be on as of 2 days out, and the game probably won't be over by the time Dynamite is done tonight, so you may not even be able to go off the air with anything concrete or even have word from the network on what everything is. But you would hope by Thursday morning, everything is set of at least a start time that you can aggressively promote. It's just it is the way it is when you're on a network that sports is going to bump you, and playoffs, there's going to be the potential of additional games, and you can only do what is on the schedule, and there's question marks until the series is over.
Mm-hmm. Just wrapping things up with AEW here. They are, of course, already in Las Vegas for Double or Nothing week, and it kicks off tonight with their 3rd anniversary show from Las Vegas. This is headlined by a steel cage match between Shawn Spears and Wardlow with special referee MJF.
That's a great graphic.
It's beautiful. Look at the Caesars, Paris. I mean, you know, it's a great looking city, of course.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I can see the late night Korean barbecue place down the alleyway there. You can see it. It's just by MJF's pant leg, I think.
Might catch some wrestling fans at that spot later tonight. But any prediction? I mean, obviously, you know, only one prediction. But so does he have to win this in order to get the match? Is that technically?
Oh yeah, if he loses, then the cage match is off. Or, not the cage match. The MJF match is off. Yes.
Yeah, probably not happening, but still, it's nice to have that little glimmer of hope. Always the possibility, I suppose.
Yeah. And Spears did refer to it as the main event. I would assume that goes on last tonight. That seems definitely the biggest thing on the show. And then, you have your Owen Hart Cup tournament matches where I think we're getting Joe and Cole at the pay-per-view. And what are you thinking? Tony Storm beats Britt Baker? Or I see this one going either way, but I kind of lean towards Storm probably going to the finals.
You know, it's hard for me to think of a star on the level of a Britt Baker not having a spot on the show. Mm-hmm. But Tony Storm is also somebody that I think they will really want to, you know, like she would be somebody who would be an ideal person to win this. As you mentioned, I think Storm versus Baker in the main event on the pay-per-view would probably be more attractive.
Would have been my pick. Like, to me, it's the most interesting match of the tournament, and it's... you would have assumed this would have been the pay-per-view, especially given the lead up to it. But you either get, you know, 2 baby faces in Tony Storm and Ruby Soho, or, I mean, really Chris Statlander in that same role too, or you just go with Britt Baker in the finals. And then, you know, you could have the story too of Baker and Cole respectively going for the win in each tournament.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. I think I'm leaning towards Baker, but, you know, I'm pretty 50-50 on it. But, as John mentioned, Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly, which to me might be the match I was looking forward to the most as a potential matchup here in this tournament that is taking place tonight. Very excited for that. We also have for the ROH World Tag Team Championship, FTR versus the reunited Roppongi Vice. And, you know, this might be as much as, you know, their involvement is for FTR over this weekend. So a big title defense there live tonight. Also, Jungle Boy versus Swerve Strickland versus Ricky Starks. And then a face-to-face between Hangman Page and CM Punk. Also, we hear from Thunder Rosa. So,
but will it be babyface to babyface tonight?
I mean, this is our first indication of like how this audience will react towards Page and towards Punk. I mean, it's been certain cities have leaned towards one person and certain cities have leaned towards another, but I don't know. It's really hard for me to predict what Vegas will be like. My guess is that, it'll be sort of a both these guys type of thing, maybe with a slight edge towards Punk. What do
Yeah.
you think?
I think I'm really looking forward to the crowd tonight because you would think like some of the travelers, I think for sure by Rampage, but maybe you're going to get some travelers that are already in town for tonight's show. I think it'll be a good indication of, your out of town crowd that should be pretty damn lively for the show. So I'm looking forward to it from that sense, but especially on Rampage on Friday where it's a live show and you've got pretty much, people in town that I'm sure are coming for multiple shows leading into Sunday night. So yeah, you should have some hot crowds in Vegas over these 3 events.
Over to WWE Raw ratings from Monday, and this comes to us courtesy from Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics and Showbuzz Daily. 1,732,000 viewers, which is similar to last week, and a .41 in the demo for Raw, which is down 9% from last week. Raw ranked number 2 in cable originals behind TNT's NHL playoff game, and I believe number 9 overall. Any thoughts on this week's ratings?
Yeah, I mean, you did not see the same third hour success that they have the last few weeks. I mean, the third hour was definitely the lowest of the 3, including in the 18 to 49 demo, which the last 2 weeks of the countdown, it had been beating the first hour. And again, this was a big loss in the 50-plus demo. They dropped 19% in the third hour, so that explained a lot of the drop in the third hour. But your other demos, you also saw that first to third hour drop, where the last 2 weeks they've been holding on to that audience, if not growing them from the first to third hour. So it seemed like this one and promoting it around the Cody Miz didn't have the magic of the first 2 weeks, but I'm sure it's an experiment they're going to still continue with because they've almost introduced it now as Cody's gimmick that I don't see them just dropping out of nowhere. But, against the NHL, they still did a very good number on cable. So I don't think you can be too depressed about, that kind of viewership during playoff time.
Over to Japan, DDT has announced that they will be allowing cheering crowds. Finally, on July 7th, it is a show called DDT Free, and they're preparing socially distanced seats for your enjoyment and safety. The show is called DDT Free, Let Your Voices Be Heard. Is this an indicator to you, John, of maybe hopefully a continuing trend for other promotions in Japan?
I think you'd have to read it as that. I mean, New Japan has kind of been hinting at that as something that could be returning soon. And if DDT has been given the go-ahead that they can allow this as of July 7th, I don't see why everyone else can't follow suit at this point. I mean, I don't think they're going against any government restrictions if they're advertising this. So I don't see what the holdup would be unless there would be promotions that are being extra cautious, even though they have the green light that they could allow cheering.
July 7th still seems to be at least a bit of a ways away. Can you see New Japan, implementing this before that?
Certainly.
For one of their bigger shows that's coming up?
I mean, there have been hints towards it about maybe that being something for the Super Juniors final, which is a week from Friday. So, yeah, I mean, you can say whatever you want. Like, you watch it and it's difficult, but at the same time, like, they are taking safety measures that I'm never going to criticize, that they're going to these great lengths, even if it comes at the detriment of the live experience and how it comes across off television. But they have been very, very concerned and taking extra precautions. So, I think it will make a dramatic maybe is overstating it, but certainly a meaningful effect when it comes to the shows and getting back to cheering. And if fans do you think it's going to be something where all fans are just instantly comfortable cheering after this long period of essentially being trained not to cheer? That there might be a bit of a lag before fans are just going right back to pre-pandemic habits.
I think they will be like, if they're allowed, then I think they will. Obviously we're dealing with very different cultures when it comes to, I think, how we look at rules, maybe, from North America versus Japan, where I think you have a much more obedient society in Japan. But because I think they strictly will go by what the people what the regulations dictate. And if the green light is there to make noise, then I think they will be free to make noise. So I look forward to it, certainly. Let's go over to NXT 2.0, and we have our final set for the Women's Breakout Tournament as Roxanne Perez advanced after defeating Lash Legend in the semifinal. She will meet Tiffany Stratton, who was not announced as part of this tournament at all, but last night they let us know that Nikita Lyons was injured while training, and therefore Tiffany Stratton took her place in a semifinal match against Fallon Henley, which Stratton won. So we have Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez for the final next week. What do you know about this? Did you watch NXT 2.0 first of all? Because I did not. And your thoughts on Stratton being in here in place of Lyons?
Yeah, this broke everyone's bracket. Tiffany Stratton getting into the tournament and now going to the finals. Similar to if Chris Statlander wins tonight, a replacement that could go to the finals. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything beyond that other than, I mean, there were two notable replacements on the show, or at least people that were replaced, in Nikita Lyons and then Roderick Strong. They explained rolled his ankle, so he was not on the show. He was supposed to team with Damon Kemp against Pretty Deadly, so that match was scrapped from the show as well. So you have Nikita Lyons and Roderick Strong, who did not appear. And I would say, I think everyone is looking at Roxanne Perez to win this breakout tournament. And I thought she was sort of the favorite to win this. I know some were looking at Nikita Lyons and Lash Legend, but to me, it's a match that's been done multiple times. And this seemed to be like a good tournament to introduce Roxanne Perez and give her a big win in the tournament coming out as the best friend of Cora Jade. These segments, it's like they're really hitting you over the head that these are best friends, that they have a long history together. So you did not see NXT, and we don't have to go through everything, but did you see the introductory piece last week on Thea Hale, who is her character is she is graduating high school, which I imagine is legit. Next week, she has been given multiple offers to different colleges. She's going to make her decision next week on NXT of what school she's going to go to.
Oh boy, I wonder how many schools exist in the NXT universe. I mean,
I think she got an offer from Duke, from Dartmouth. I mean, she was just holding all the letters of acceptance, and she's going to make her decision on NXT next week.
Well, listen, why would you choose any of those when there's possibly an offer for Chase sitting right in front of you?
Oh man, that would be the best.
That
choice.
To me is the whole reason for this, isn't there? Like, what other places would she choose that would make sense in storyline?
One positive is that with the viewership where it is at NXT, I'm glad that there are not 1.7 million people watching this Braun Breaker presentation. This Joe Gacy feud is just doing a number on Braun Breaker. On Tuesday's episode, the idea is Joe Gacy he's trying to get into Braun Breaker's head and just mess with him. So as Braun Breaker is being interviewed, a video starts playing on the screen where he's completing a play from his college football days, and he's explaining, "Oh yeah, this is an 85-yard rush I had." Like, wow, it was a great play. Yeah, my dad was supposed to be at this game, but he was in Japan. It's fine. Dude, it was just so cringy awesome to watch. Man, and the thing is, when you're looking at In Your House, what heels are set up for Braun Breaker after this? I mean, it's Grayson Waller, Von Wagner, not exactly the most depth when it comes to heels. That the idea of Joe Gacy getting this title, especially with the DQ stipulation and holding it for the summer, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. They don't have anything else ready for Breaker. That I could certainly see a title change happening here, but I just think this feud has been, it's really taken the steam out of Braun Breaker for me.
Yeah. On the show, of course, in the main event, we had Duke Hudson defeating Braun Breaker via DQ after Gacy's Druids attacked Hudson with a chair, which is their way of exemplifying the potential of Breaker losing the championship via DQ at In Your House. So we go to an updated card right now, and we've got for the NXT Championship Breaker versus Gacy, where Breaker cannot lose via DQ or else he loses his championship. For the North American title, we have Cameron Grimes versus Carmelo Hayes, and then we have the Tag Team Championship between Pretty Deadly and the Creed Brothers, And also announced, but not yet official, is for the women's tag team championships, Toxic Attraction taking on Chance and Carter. So
Yeah, and they're also looking to do Mandy Rose and Wendy Chu for the women's title. So that looks almost full. Like maybe one other match they add to it. They haven't said where the breakout tournament final would take place. If that'll be on TV, that could be something.
isn't that
as well.
next week?
Did they announce it for next week? Maybe I'm mistaken then.
I did some research and thought it was, but you could be right. So there you go. And that's it.
Yes. Quick note that on the season finale of Young Rock, we got the reenactment of Rocky Maivia beating Hunter Hearst Helmsley at Thursday Raw Thursday in Lowell,
way.
Massachusetts. Yes.
Oh, perfect.
We were off by a week.
Damn it.
We
Well,
could have released that show the exact same time as that match was airing on NBC in its reenacted form.
Well, hopefully, people who listen to our Rewind Away about Thursday Raw Thursday would have gotten a bit more out of Young Rock this week if they chose to watch.
This series is hilarious. It's a departure from the USWA I just did not realize that Rocky Maivia went through, which included Downtown Bruno getting legit bullied by the booker who doubles as a wrestler and started roughing him up in the ring. So Rocky Maivia storms the ring and cuts a shoot promo, unscripted, on the booker. And then Jerry Lawler appears as the USWA champion and challenges Rocky Maivia on the spot to a title match where if Rocky loses, he's out of the territory. And this is all legit. Rocky's not aware of this. He accepts the match and he assumes I'm being booked to lose and being kicked out of the territory by this vengeful booker. But it turns out that midway through the match, Jerry Lawler tells Rocky Maivia, "You're getting called up to the WWF and you're losing." I didn't know that's how his USWA run ended. I thought it was a lot less dramatic than that. And then, dude, they in like 10 minutes, they went through Survivor Series, the IC title win, WrestleMania 13 with one of the top heels in the company, the Sultan, as Rocky Maivia described. And then we get the election results way. So I won't spoil it, folks. Was Dwayne Johnson elected as U.S. president in 2032?
Wow, incredible! I mean, I sense you talking a lot more about Young Rock, in the weeks and months ahead.
I watch it most weeks, so I keep up with it. It's amusing, I will say that. I don't know if I'll keep up with it when it moves to Friday nights, but anyway, there's your Young Rock report, and that's it.
All right, okay, that's it, John. Anything else?
That's all. We'll be back tonight, 8 Eastern, with Rewind to Dynamite. So thanks to everybody for tuning in live, and Way for driving the ship today.
Not a problem. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.